My boss is forcing us to send our medical records, and it backfired on him.
Yeah, it sounds like the most illegal thing you could possibly do.
First of all, a bit of misleading title, as the person in this situation is not me, but my friend. Second, this is going to be fairly long and perhaps unnecessarily context heavy. It's not an urgent request for answers, and I hope this will be more interesting than boring, even if it is long-winded. And by the way, this comes from OMG, can they do that? And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. And I'm Angie.
I'm Dakota.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We're just going to guess what we would do in this situation. Let us know what you would do in the comments. So, to get to the main issue though, one of my friend's coworkers passed away while at work last month. It was apparently a massive heart attack. He was under 50, so it shocked everyone, more so that it happened literally at his desk in the middle of a shared open plan office. While at the wake, my friends and the deceased's direct boss was talking to some family members and informally learned that the worker who passed away had some existing high blood pressure and other health problems that he had been neglecting to treat. Relatives apparently think he would not have passed away had he been more vigilant with his health. A moot point, and certainly none of his boss or coworkers' businesses. The boss took the situation pretty hard. I gather he was extremely freaked out on the day of the incident, and the information that the worker had a pre-existing medical condition that could have potentially predicted what would have happened seems to have sparked the idea in his head. On Friday, he announced to the office as a whole, all 20-ish of his direct reports, part of a larger company of 250 to 300 people, that he was giving them until May 1st, specifically after tax season, because he thinks he's being nice and is unnecessarily accommodating of people's time, to provide him personally, not HR, not higher execs, just him, quote, updated copy of your full medical history. According to him, this means a visit with the PCP/GP, quote, no less than 6 months prior to the due date, and fully accounting by the doctor for all at-risk health factors, and a full further accounting of all risk factors in your full medical history. These are direct quotes. He gave everyone a memo. The wording in the memo is pretty basic directions in poorly thought out legalese, some of almost stream of consciousness style. He is in the habit of dictating to his assistant and gets uptight about her recording exactly what he said rather than rewording things to make more sense, even with important correspondence. He is claiming this policy will allow him to prevent further trauma-inducing incidents, like a coworker passing away very suddenly at his desk a few feet away, and honestly seems to believe this will protect the company from legal intimidation in case anyone wants to sue for the trauma of witnessing a passing in the workplace. I guess the idea is that if he knows a coworker is likely to pass away suddenly, he can fire them first to prevent anything from falling back on him or the company. It doesn't seem to make much sense on the surface, and I can't guess if this is truly his real motivation. Also, as if a medical history could accurately predict sudden passings of that type. He is clearly not rational on this plan. Honestly, to me, it sounds like he was freaked out by witnessing the incident himself. When the thought crossed his mind to sue the company for his own trauma, it eventually turned into an idea to play it as if he were a good policymaker trying to protect the company from legal trouble from people like himself. Apparently, he's been angling for a promotion for years and has, in the past, already come up with some harebrained schemes to suck up to his own bosses. Anyway, my friend is pretty level-headed, and her immediate instinct is to go to HR on Monday and let them know what's going on. But the way she presented the story to me gave me pause. She described it casually over drinks last night in a manner like, listen to this completely illegal thing my boss is trying to do. It does seem to me like he is crossing some dubious legal lines, but I've been lurking here long enough to see a lot of people come in with workplace issues they are sure are 100% against the law, and it often turns out the answer to can they do this is yup. I think the question of is this stupid for my boss to do and should I bring it to HR/higher-ups is a pretty clear yes, since it doesn't have to be illegal for HR to have other reasons to want to shut this down immediately. Still, I'm curious about the actual legality of what this blowhard is planning.
This is about confidential medical history.
Yeah.
This isn't something your boss should just have on hand without any oversight, dictating how he uses it. Because he could theoretically now fire people based on their medical history without anyone in the company being made aware of it. And that would be a massive lawsuit at the end of that. So they don't want this. Your company would not want him to have access to this.
Yeah, it might not be illegal, but also I feel like it probably would be. But it's also kind of like, what is he gonna do though? Like, what is he gonna do with all of that medical information? Is he just gonna be like, hey guys, you have to be treated for your ailments or else you're gonna pass away in the workplace?
Yeah.
Personally, I just can't handle that.
He's just like, I want to be a doctor.
Yeah.
I was in the wrong field. I should have been a doctor. I'm going to treat every last one of you as my patients.
Just got off the phone with my friend a few minutes ago, and it is official. Boss is now ex-boss. My friend did, in fact, go to HR as she was planning and laid out the situation for them. They seemed concerned and assured her that they would look into it, and then she heard no more of it for about a week. Ex-boss was also suspiciously quiet about the policy during that time period. Until last Monday when he was not even in the office. There was no explanation given to the office at large, but my friend spoke to his assistant and from the information she got, pieced together that he was in some sort of long important meetings with corporate HR, and he would then be taking the rest of the week on personal leave. The weekend passed and he didn't return. The office was in limbo for the beginning of this week, but today someone came down from corporate and announced that ex-boss was officially no longer working for the company and that new corporate guy would be serving as their temporary supervisor until a new one was hired. Obviously, everything largely went on behind the scenes, but since my friend was the one to blow the whistle to her friend in HR, yes, I did see the comments on the previous thread about how HR is never your friend, oh well. She managed to get a couple of details at lunch about it, the way it all went down. Apparently, corporate was quickly and heavily concerned about ex-boss's scheming because he had a history of dumb ideas that blew up in his or someone else's face. In the past, he always managed to take the heat off himself by throwing someone else under the bus. When local HR came to tell him that this new policy was officially very stupid and would cause him and the company far more liability than he could possibly save them from.
I'm sorry, that's
Angie
really...
said I'm covering my butt right now.
That's so funny. I've never heard that.
He threw a temper tantrum and insisted that the higher execs would understand what a good idea it was. The meetings with corporate were initially them trying to talk him down and explain why he was wrong. He resisted this strongly and turned them into seminars on why he was actually right. Eventually, a VP got involved and it was over. Ex-boss was not technically fired, but was strongly encouraged to submit his resignation. He will not be getting any reference other than a confirmation that he did in fact work there. My friend hasn't personally heard anything from the guy since he suddenly disappeared from the office. If he's contacted any of her coworkers, they didn't share it with her. She's pretty excited to see the last of him and is hoping her new boss will be less of a moron. By the way, you would be a moron if you didn't listen to full episodes of stories just like this one. Just go to Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite podcast app is, and search OK Storytime. Then you won't be a moron anymore. Apparently, one of her longtime coworkers, who has always been a bit of a mentor figure to her, is being considered for a promotion internally instead of them hiring someone new as a supervisor, so my friend might even materially benefit from this fiasco. Again, my thanks to everyone who provided info and advice, and to those who were just supportive. I did drop off commenting after a few hours because I do browse Reddit most of my workday, and I'm paranoid about accidentally commenting with my main when I mean to use my throwaway, and vice versa, so I just stayed logged out of this account. Sorry for the lack of real-time clarification, but hopefully this update makes up for it. That's the end of that story. I want to hear your comments, Dakota.
I'm glad that your friend is getting something materially out of this. Yeah, funny enough, that's the exact thing. He was like, I'm going to save the company money and whatever. I don't know. Sometimes you just got to let people, destroy themselves.
Yeah.
And it didn't even really sound like this guy was doing anything like super evil. He was just dumb.
Just very stupid. And was like, hey, bud, that's illegal.
Yeah, it's like, hey, and even to the point where the company's like, hey, so... kind of like blanket asking every one of your direct reports for their confidential private medical history.
Right.
Kind of can't work here anymore, buddy. So just go ahead and resign. We won't fire you, so it won't look bad on you. But you got to get out of here.
Yeah.
Because you asked for their medical records to save us money. After one of their coworkers keeled over at their desk, had a heart attack in the middle of the day.
Yeah, dude. You can't. It's wrong for so many reasons. So many of them. But that is the end of that story.
My husband stopped inviting me to work events. I think he's ashamed of me.
Yeah, I think he is too.
My husband and I have been together for 9 years. He started his company with some friends a year after we got together. He is the major owner, and they now have 120 employees, about 80% of them men. By the way, this comes from a deleted user. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Angie.
We are here to give you good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do. So let us know what you would do in the comments. About a year ago, my husband stopped taking me to company parties, events, dinners, and other work functions. He always came up with some excuse to take my mother-in-law instead, or another family member. Sometimes he didn't even tell me there was an event and just went by himself to the smaller ones. He said it was because he wanted the rest of the family to celebrate him too. I was a bit hurt, but I thought, yeah, he's probably right. Now he's in a big city in Europe for a major product launch. He took my sister-in-law with him. I admit that I cried when he excluded me this time because it was such a big deal for his company. But he promised to take me on a luxury vacation instead, just the two of us. That's his new thing. Every time I'm excluded, I get a trip or jewelry. I'm good friends with the other wives of the company owners. One of them is 8 months preggerino, so she didn't go on that trip either. She was surprised to hear that I was home too. So we planned a lunch. During lunch, she told me about an incident that happened at my husband's work. Apparently, in one of the conference rooms, somebody forgot to turn off the projector from the previous meeting. The conference rooms are located in the middle of the office with glass walls and doors so everyone could see inside. On the big screen, there was a list of names, the wives of the owners, and some of the management team. My name was first on the list, marked as 1 with numbers 2 through 10 empty, then another name at 11. My husband heard about this and launched an internal investigation. It turned out that a group of coworkers had been ranking the wives' front airbags for fun.
Oh, shoot. That is so not what I was expecting.
My husband was furious. The wife who told me about it was surprised that I didn't know because the whole situation had created quite a buzz at the company. Her husband had told her about it, and she assumed mine had told me too, but he hadn't. When I asked her when this happened, it was around the same time my husband stopped inviting me to company events. I am so hurt and embarrassed. I didn't realize he was ashamed of me. I'm 100% sure this is the reason he doesn't want me there, and I don't know if I should confront him. Girl, why is your first thought that he's ashamed of you?
I feel like with knowing this information, we should know that that's very much not the case.
Should I confront him? I haven't done anything wrong, and I at least deserve to know what's been going on behind my back. I'm just so mad. Almost none of the guys from that group work there anymore. I never wear provocative or revealing clothes, which makes me even sadder because if he's blaming me, I don't know what I could have done differently. Thank you for your comments. The majority of people seem to believe that my husband's reaction was the right and healthy one because he loves me and wants to protect me. We both love each other, but the protect me part, I'm 38 and I can stand up for myself. Would it be okay if the roles were reversed? Do I have any right to keep him away if it was his body being ranked by my colleagues? I'm not something to be hidden or protected. I don't mean to offend anyone, and I'm not ungrateful for the support, but I really want to understand.
OP, I get what you're trying to say. You know, you're a strong, independent woman, but if this is your husband, right? It's not just a...
Yes.
Yeah, this is your husband. I feel like if I was in your situation, I definitely wouldn't want to know. I'd be so grossed out. I feel like it would have been fine for you to know, but I don't think it's that wrong for you to not know. Although I guess if you did spiral into the whole like, well, why am I not coming then? What are you hiding from me?
But I guess she only did that because he hid it from her.
Right.
And because he started like bringing his mother and his sister instead of
Right.
her.
You're subjecting your mom and your sister to that kind of
Yeah, but I mean,
view?
like, it's more, yeah, okay. So at the end of the day,
Yeah.
yeah, you should just tell your partner,
Yeah,
hey,
okay.
I don't know if you want to come, I'll let you decide. I'll tell you what happened, and then I'll let you decide if
There
you
you
want to
go.
come to the work events
I think
still.
that's great.
Because they objectified you. Comments number 1. I wouldn't jump straight to the conclusion that he's ashamed of you. He's just as likely, I mean, I would even say more likely to be ashamed that his peers and employees would make fun of you and the other wives so he wanted to spare you from it. If I were in your shoes, I'd just tell him you found out from a coworker's wife and that you're not angry at him about what the other employees did. To me, it seems more like you're mad he kept something from you, and that in the future you want to deal with this kind of thing together because you're life partners. Tell him that. Hopefully he'll understand your perspective. Reply says, I think it's exactly this. He's embarrassed by their behavior, and he doesn't want to subject his wife to any creeps like that. So he'd rather keep her separated from any of his employees. Update! Hi again. I have a little update, and I hope I don't ramble your whole evening away. I don't know how to feel about everything right now. Before I update, I want to address something. I stand by the title. I got many messages, probably from men, asking why I call it making fun when they're rating me highly. Let me tell you this. Unsolicited compliments are intimidation. A bunch of men I don't know or care about discussing my and other women's bodies is not cute. I don't feel special, and I don't get any satisfaction or confidence from it. I know this will bring more hate in the DMs, but that's the dark side of the internet. And I'm aware of it. So bring your best misogynistic crap on, and I will report anybody who steps over my boundaries. Second, I think I made the top of the list simply because my husband is the owner, not because I'm bragging about my looks. My husband arrived this morning. Maybe I should have waited until tomorrow to talk to him and just spent today cuddling. Oh well. I made it till lunch after his nap. I told him about my lunch with the other wife and asked if he stopped taking me to company events because of what happened. He simply said yes. He didn't even try to deny it. I asked him why, and he seemed surprised because he thought it was obvious. He said he didn't want his colleagues oogling his wife and disrespecting him. He said he didn't tell me because he didn't want to upset or hurt me, and that he was sorry that I found out. I told him he should have let me decide what embarrassed or hurt me. I felt like he took away my agency. He got annoyed and said, I don't want my private life mixed in with my work life. I like to keep them separate.
But you can bring your mom and your sister, though?
Yeah, you literally brought your family in to work.
I'm kind of annoyed by
They're
both of
oogling
these
your
people.
mom now.
Exactly. And then also, like, I guess maybe he's okay with that because he doesn't see it as disrespecting him, which I don't like that. And I don't like that.
I tried to argue some more, but he shut me down and said the discussion was over. I didn't feel good afterward, but I dropped it anyway. He apologized later and told me to respect how he handled the situation. He said he felt undermined and disrespected when the gossip started about me and the other wives, and that with me, there were more gruesome details like photoshopped pictures and clips with my face being spread around.
Oh my God.
So all of those people are fired, right?
Right?
Right? All of the people your wife are fired,
That's
correct?
crazy.
I'm a minority, so there were also elements of fetishism and racism involved. I was targeted more than the other women, and that's why the others didn't take such drastic measures. There was a huge inquiry with HR and IT departments involved to trace the source, and many were fired or bought out. My husband decided then that he didn't want this to ever happen again, and his solution was to separate work and private life. And by the way, you never need to separate yourself. From full episodes of stories like this on your favorite podcast platform, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever it is, just search OK Storytime.
Yeah, screw all these guys. That's so crazy. I was wondering if like something extra happened, but I was not expecting that to happen.
It being that intense, it's like, well, yeah, I kind of want to shelter you from this, but you could have also just gone to your partner and gone, hey, I need to tell you something. And don't make it like a discussion. Be like, this is, I want to do this moving forward. Because there was some really messed up stuff that has gone around about some of the wives at work, and yours was really the worst. And we fired people. I just want to keep my private life separated from my work life. I just don't want to create a situation where this could ever happen again. So I'm not going to really, I don't want to bring you around any more work events.
He should have thought about that. But maybe they had some sort of conversation that we don't know about, like with the other guys, and it was still like too big of a risk to have like the wife there, but like he trusted that like with new people they wouldn't do that. I don't know. I'm hoping that there's more context behind the scenes that we're getting with that.
I didn't argue, I just listened. I have to say, and I know many of you, based on the support my husband got in the previous post, will disagree with me, that I totally disagree with how he handled this. They did a great job taking the matter seriously and taking action against those involved. But what was I? Collateral damage? A casualty? I should have been the one to decide how to handle something that targeted me as a person, but he did it for himself. He wanted to spare himself the headache and embarrassment. not me. I've been with him since the start. I've been his #1 believer even when things were rough in the beginning, and I basically own half his shares. All of this just feels so unfair, and that is the end of that story.
Oh, because I guess she does have a little bit of like part in the company. I forgot about that. This is a company that he started that grew to like a whole bunch of people. I forgot about that.
You can make the same argument, though, about his side. You know, it's like,
I kind of understand both
yeah,
perspectives.
I see why he maybe tried to hide this from you, but
Yeah.
also because he was just like, well, the last thing I want to do is now make this a fight between me and my wife. But now it's
Sure.
like, you know, no matter what, it's created frictions now.
I called my CEO by his first name and got so shamed for it.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
I, 24 male, work at a smallish nonprofit aquarium in the membership department. Among other things, it is my job to track the comings and goings of members and other individuals closely related to our organization, such as donors and trustees. By the way, this comes from MusicMage4114, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. And I'm Angie.
I'm Dakota.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We're just going to guess what we would do in the situation, but let us know what you would do in the comments. So, whenever an important person visits the aquarium, I am required to notify a list of people in various other departments, particularly people who work directly with donors, so that they can follow up with them, ensure that they have/had an enjoyable visit, etc. Depending on the importance of the visitor, this list changes somewhat, and at the highest levels of importance, the primary contact for these notifications is our organization's CEO, along with a multitude of CCs. While these notifications in general are frequent, it is rare that a visit is important enough to warrant notifying the CEO, who is 60s male. In fact, I have only needed to send out notification of this level once before in the year that I have worked here. Today, I received a call from a representative at the gate saying that we had just made a visit. I immediately compiled the list of people to be notified with the CEO as the primary recipient and everyone else's CC'd and sent out this email. I have access to all of the names involved. Here's the email. Good afternoon, Stanley. Chairman of the board's granddaughters just checked in at the gate along with their 2 babysitters. Their mom sent them with a nice note explaining who they were. Though, of course, we would have admitted them regardless. We provided them with tickets to feed the animals, and they are happily on their way. OP. Aside from the specifics of their visit, this is identical to my previous notification I had sent to the CEO, and is basically the format I use for all notifications of this type, simply changing who I sent it to. I have never had issues with these notifications before. Not 5 minutes later, I get an email from the Assistant Director of Donor Relations, Janice, 40s female, also on the notification list, who I do not report to in any way. Dear OP, it took me 3.5 years before I called Dr. President Stanley. He is usually the one to extend that privilege. From Janice. She had also CC'd my boss on her reply. For what reason, I can't imagine. Honestly, I was taken aback. I communicate with Janice frequently as membership and donor relations tend to overlap. It being the holiday season means that we've been communicating even more as donors like to purchase memberships as gifts for their friends and family, and I notify her when this happens. Let me be clear. Everyone, and I do mean everyone in my organization, operates on a first name basis, regardless of age or position. I call my boss by her first name. I call her boss by her first name. I call the executive VP of guest relations, our collective boss, by his first name. This has never been an issue. Being an aquarium, we have many individuals here with degrees that give them a title, but we've used first names with them as well. All correspondence with other people in the organization, whether we have met them personally or not, uses first names. Even at my orientation, when I was being briefed on who the important people at the organization were, I was specifically told Stanley is our CEO. He's very nice. When you meet him, he'll probably ask you to call him Stanley. Wow.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Janice.
Janice. To be fair, I have not yet met him in person, but everyone refers to him by his first name. And I have never had any indication that I should do otherwise. I immediately replied to her with, Janice, I appreciate the correction. I had previously referred to Dr. President as Stanley in my last notification, but no one thought to say anything to me then. I will adjust my future correspondence accordingly. I then wrote a quick email to the CEO and CC'd Janice and my boss Dear Dr. President, I apologize if I have been presumptive in addressing you by your first name. Janice informed me that it was improper and I intended no disrespect. Sincerely, OP. Our CEO isn't on campus on weekends, so I didn't receive a reply from him, nor have I heard anything further from Janice. My boss will be in tomorrow, so she will see the exchange tomorrow. I still feel mortified. I honestly had no idea that I was doing something incorrectly, and now I'm paranoid that the whole host of other people on that notification list are having the same thoughts as Janice about me. So now what do I do? Do I just let this be the end of it? Did I handle this correctly? Any insight would be appreciated. Maybe I'm just making mountains out of molehills, but this is really bothering me. And we do have some comments, but what do you think, Dakota?
I think you need to find where Dr. President lives, and you need to start washing his car, mowing the lawn, and cleaning all the windows to his house without asking first.
Sure.
So that you can prove to him that you are appropriately paying your penance for the egregious disrespect you have visited upon the Dr. President name. Yeah, or just like move on.
Yeah.
I think you could actually, now that I said that one out loud, I think you could just move on from this and it's fine.
Yeah, no, I think you've done everything that you can do. You addressed him apologizing for disrespect. I wouldn't have even thought to put it that way, but I think that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
If that was even possible, I really don't think... If you were told that in orientation, I think you're fine. Mr. Strangelove MSC says, maybe it took him 3 years to ask her to call him Stanley because she sucks as a person. I agree with another commenter, especially considering that she refers to a dude generally called Stanley as Dr. President, which is precisely at the end of the effing spectrum of things a CEO can be called. OP says, well, I actually couldn't think of a generic last name, so I put President instead. Okay. The gist was that I should use Dr. last name. First of all, thank you to everyone who took the time to reply to my original post. The general consensus was that I had handled the situation well, or at least as best as I could have, given my situation and experience. Even those of you who thought I had screwed up said so in a way that was sensitive and respectful. So thank yous all around. Now on to the update. I mentioned in my original post that I had only sent one of these notifications to our CEO once before, and no one had sent anything then. When he replied to me that time, it was only one word. Thanks. No salutation, no signature, just that one word. Understandably, he's a busy man. But this is very important for understanding what happened this time. I got into work this morning and opened my email. Among my various other usual emails, I saw that the CEO had responded to my original notification email at about 7:30 p.m. last night, a Saturday. He had kept intact the original list of people to be notified, so everyone who had seen my original message also saw his reply to me, including Janice. This time, it was 3 words, but I could feel the deliberateness of every one. Dear OP, thanks. From Stanley. Okay, so that's actually 4 words. What the frick?
Nice.
By the way...
Called himself Stanley.
But I bet Stanley would really appreciate it if you would listen to full episodes of stories just like this one on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just search OK Storytime. And there is a little bit more to the story. We got our answer. It's Stanley.
It's Stanley.
It's Stanley.
It's Stanley until the end of time.
And make sure to call him Dr. President, because you do not deserve to call him Stanley anymore. But there is a little bit more to the story. So yeah, I think it's pretty clear where he stands on this whole business. I feel a million times better, since the CEO is clearly a very classy guy. My boss also saw his response and also told me that I had done everything right and not to worry about it. So everything worked out okay. Thanks again to everyone who helped me stop freaking out. And there are some top comments. And first comment says, oh! 2015 June says, thanks, Stanley. Haha, that's great. Screw you, Janice. Deleted says, effing Janice. I had to work with a lady named Janice who was just like that. You handled this very well. And that's the end of that story.
We all know a Janice.
We all know a
somewhere across time. We have all come across a Janice.
Don't we all know? Oh my goodness. Yeah, I feel like if that story went on any longer, I think I would start to be very annoyed with OP. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm annoyed with OP as well. To be clear, I'm like, how are we in the workforce?
Like, why are we don't need to be freaking out about this?
This was freaking us out?
I'm annoyed with you, OP, a little bit, but overall, I enjoyed it. So, thanks for that story.